Welcome to the Appalachian Podcast. I'm your host, Billy Riddle. With me, once again, my co-host, Jeff Taylor Bodine. We're back at it again.
Callaway style.
Turn 2, Franklin County Speedway. Special day, special podcast. For a lot of reasons. Number one, my kid could come at any second now. And it's pretty weird that we were over there in Turn 3 at Motor Mile back in October, the weekend. We found out it was going to be a boy, or he was going to be a boy. And now here we are today. I've spent, the last couple of weeks saying, "Oh, come on, little buddy, come early, come early." That way we ain't got to worry about today because we've been working up to this day for a long time now. So, in true Riddle fashion and form, he's being a pain in the hind end. He hadn't come yet, so.
Well, if that's true, he'll show up drunk.
Well, let's hope I don't. So I'm hoping he doesn't come today because I want to drink a couple beers up here at the racetrack. Not a lot, just in case. But, I'd like to have one or two because it's a beautiful day up here. This is, as I've been saying all weekend, the Smart Mods are batting cleanup for this weekend. We had the trucks, on Thursday night?
Yep.
Martinsville.
Xfinity.
Under the lights, then Xfinity Friday and NASCAR last night. Think what you want of the racing. It would have been a good time to be there. I always enjoy being at the racetrack for the sounds, for the smell, for the people and stuff. Last night would have been a little too cold for me, Bodine. You?
It would have been way too cold. I was glad. I had thought about going, but I'm going to say, I'm going to wait till midweek and see what the weather's going to be like. I made the right call.
Yeah, it looked like it was a little much last night, so
we got a little wind noise.
Yeah, I'm hoping this isn't coming in too awful bad. It's in and out. We're just trying to do intros right now. This isn't going to be your traditional kind of podcast. We're just set up right here. We're going to do segments all day long. We're hoping to have a lot of people just drop by and say hi for 5 or 10 minutes, talk a little bit. We might get some drivers, some promoters. Might get the boss man, Chris Williams. Who knows? We got a bunch of people coming in from the racetrack, from the Martinsville races this weekend. Bodine, who decided to stick around. Hopefully maybe they'll come by and get on for a few. It's just going to be a fun day. We kind of wish this is one of those deals where it would be nice to be live. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if we could figure out a way, maybe there's got to be like some kind of Wi-Fi signal or something, booster or something we could put down here to stream videos out.
Well, when the lack of strong cell coverage down here doesn't help things, but it's decent enough. But we might, we probably could. We could work it out. Just got to figure that out.
Well, I think it's something we need to look into for the future because it would be really cool to be here live and kind of doing updates. So as it stands now, we'll just be kind of informing people on Twitter and things like that. Maybe a couple pictures on Facebook, letting you know what's going on. And of course, there's going to be other people up here today. Probably a short track. What's that?
Actually, I got a full signal here.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, download speed's pretty slow, but it'll be all right.
Well, we ain't watching movies up here today, so.
Well, if you want to stream live. But anyways, that's beside the point.
Yeah, so it's a big day for us, and the reason I say that is we've been kind of looking forward to this day since I guess we found out.
Since it was put on the schedule.
Yeah, since it was put on for a lot of reasons, and for us, we're moving in on our 1-year anniversary for the podcast. It's kind of amazing, Bo, and we've been over.
What was the anniversary? I was trying to remember the date we first.
I think it's like April 29th was the day of our first release.
Back. Yeah.
So we're moving in. We're close. I think we're over 15,000 downloads. We're moving in on 17,000, 18,000. That's just amazing. And to just start up in my office a year ago to be sitting here in Turn 3, speaking to some of the best drivers on the planet and what they do is
in the middle of a hurricane.
In the middle of a hurricane. So. It seems to be every time you put together some kind of cognitive thought, Mother Nature comes through here and just smacks you in the face and says, no, if you ain't going to drink a beer, then I'm going to make sure you can't get a good thought in otherwise. And the wind just blows you down until you want to have to drink a beer to warm up, and that's how this place sucks you in. You drink a couple, the racing just turns magical, and everybody has a good time. Bodine, it's been a long time since I've been up here.
It's been a long time since I've been up here, too, because I was trying to think of last time I was here. I was sat on the back of a truck over in between turn 4 and the start-finish line. So it's been and I don't even remember, that's at least 10, 15 years ago. This place right in the back door, don't ever come in.
the last time
That's a
I was
shame.
here, I don't think any of this stuff behind us existed, and not in its current form. I think it was just a bathroom up top. Is all we had with the trough,
Yeah.
the piston trough. I was up there behind us, but all this addition wasn't here. The last time I was here was not long after I got back from Iraq, and it's a really funny story that involves Chris Riddle. We had this guy. We went to Iraq, and we got called in fairly quickly. It was like 3 days. You're gone. He said, "Man, can I leave my car down there on your property till we get back?" I said, "Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead. That's no big deal." We get home, and I guess he went and bought him another car. Didn't even bother to come back and get his old one. He had Cadillac money now, so we went and bought him a new one and just left it down there where it sat for a while. Till one day, my brother decided I'm just going to take it down to Callaway, and he brought it down here and was going to put it in the IndyCar race. So I remember me and Cole Fuller come up here, Bodine, and to our right, we sat kind of underneath this old Bojangles place right here in turn 3 and waited for my brother to start the IndyCar race. I looked down in the pits, and there's my pickup truck that he's hauled it there to. He's sitting on the tailgate wearing like a T-shirt, plain white T-shirt, and he turns up a bottle of Jim Beam.
Oh, Lord, that's how it's going to start out.
Yeah. And I guess proceeds to continue on for the rest of the evening until it was time for the IndyCar race. And sure as hell, there he was, still walking and talking, jumped in the car, got out there for the race. And I remember a few laps in, the hood flew up and hit the windshield. So he brings it down in the pits, gets out of the car, throws it back down, goes back out on the track. The hood flies up again. He comes back down again, gets out in the pits, jumps on top of the hood, goes back out, and then proceeds to try and wreck anybody other than the leader. For the rest, I guess he was buddies with him or something, and maybe they struck a deal.
What kind of shape was this Cadillac in before?
It was drivable. It was good. It wasn't quite Nissan Altima drivable, that new, but it was an old Cadillac. It was a tough car. It was probably an 80s model, easily. One of them big boat.
Big old wide body.
Yes.
72 deuce and a quarter.
Makes a perfect Indy car, really.
That's what we used to see when we were kids racing here. They weren't that old then.
Yeah, the thing about the Indy car that makes it so unique is, unlike a destruction derby where they're just sitting in the infield just plowing each other, you have kind of a bit of a strategy with the race. We talked about this on the show with Langley. But what also kind of adds to that level of strategy is, yes, you could bring a faster car out here. Maybe something smaller, maybe something a little bit sleeker, but you don't have the same amount of damage control. You're going to go faster in that Cadillac, but that Cadillac gets a hold of you, you're done. And that Cadillac's going to keep on limping around the track, So it's fun to see the fast cars and the slow cars and them try and take each other out. And it just adds another unique layer to something that we've been watching since we were kids.
I've never seen a caution flag in an IndyCar race either.
Well, Langley talked about that as well. He said they had a couple red flags here lately. Somebody got kind of
hurt.
Something happened to them.
It gets a little out of the ordinary.
I'm sure they probably all have to sign waivers before they go out there.
For real.
So. But yeah, I'm super excited about today. We really don't know how the show's going to turn out. This isn't going to be a traditional kind of show. We're just going to sit here, and anybody that shows up, we're going to sit on and talk to for a minute. Could talk racing. Could just be some random fan drunk wants to say hi to his wife. It doesn't matter, anybody and everybody. So we're just going to kind of segment it out, and we'll come in and out with different people, and we'll just piece it together, and it'll be a fun time. So what are you most looking forward to today, Bodine?
I don't know. I'm just kind of wanting to be here and meet some people. The racing's always second nature to me. For me, it's all meeting and having a conversation and carrying on. So
essentially, networking is a way to put a pretty way. And once again, there we go again with the win. Every time you try and get in a thought, and hopefully you're not hearing this on the record, and we're going to go back and listen and double check. But if you are, we apologize. It's so loud in our headphones.
Hurricane Callaway sets in.
I might end up just having to take them off, because if we can't hear them in the playback, then it's just going to bother the piss out of me. But the people we're going to meet here today, it'll be really, really interesting. Some of the old people we've had on the show before. We're hoping like Ryan Woods will drop by and talk about his He's in a series up here now, so
What's he racing?
I can't remember the stock fours maybe or.
Didn't they race today? I forgot to look.
Yeah, I think they're racing. I think he's going to have the car ready.
Actually, I seen one of them come in here, little buzz machines.
Oh, he's going to be here, so yeah. Hopefully he'll have a car and Steve Agee and them. They'll be over here in turn 1 as well. I mean, it'll be a good time. So if you've been paying attention to us, you know where we're at, and hopefully we'll be back here shortly or something with our first guest.
Won't you fly away from me? Blue-eyed mama done got all the best you see. I'm all worked over 'cause you're dancing on my feet. Pretty young lover, won't you leave tonight with me? Get along, honey, don't you dare let it by. That regret just won't let you hang your head down. Better hold it up high. You had a one shot hanging from a thin thread line. You missed your mark, oh, watch him die. Slips through the line. Maybe you can bury me 6 feet deep in the south. Oh, my broken heart yelling, trying to boss death around. Get along, honey, don't you dare let it by. Regret just won't let you hang your head down. Better hold it up high. You had a one shot hanging from a thin deadline. You missed your mark, oh, watch them die. Every now and then you can feel this weighing down. Just close your eyes, you can still hear the muffled road sound. Honey, I hope you're holding on. What you got to get now is about as good as gold. Get along, honey, don't you dare let it by. That regret just won't let you hang your head down. You better own it up high. You had a one shot hanging from a thin thread line. You missed your mark and roll. Watch him die.
All right, and now we're here with our first slew of guests. We kind of have a little trio here, and of all different walks of life. We have a couple of second-time guests. First, I'll just start off on my right. We got Steve Post, MRN Radio. We had him on about a month and a half ago. Great episode. One of the best racing conversations we've had on this show to date. So, Steve, you kind of held up your word. You said you were coming here and you showed up.
Well, when I saw the schedule, I was like, I have to be here. This is one of those tracks that I've seen and read about, and it's my first time here. This is the 226th track. I count my tracks. This is the 226th track I've been to, and I could not believe driving up the hill into here and coming across the crest of the hill and seeing this place. This is spectacular. This is a neat place. So it was fun chatting with you guys there when we did the podcast, and this worked out well with Martinsville last night. So stayed in Danville, made the drive over, and I am pumped up and glad to be here.
Next time we'll try and figure out a way to get you up here and just stay in Callaway so you can just mosey on over here without the long drive. And like I said, on the other side of that cell phone tower we can see in the distance is where we fire off our cannons. So
making sure I had. Yeah, I forgot about that. We just right over there.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah,
So-
we like to blow up stuff every now and then.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm making sure the mic was hot. There.
all right, so in number 2, we also have a returning guest, Senator Bill Stanley, who in the 6 months or so since we had him on the last time, there's been a lot of transformation and a lot of things happen in retrospect to what we talked about the first go round we had him on. So, Senator, good to see you again and glad to have you on here.
It's great to be back. Great to see you both. Bodine, great to see you. You haven't changed a lick since the last time I saw you.
I tried not to.
The Tesla's still on top of the hill.
Tesla's
Is that right? The
Yes.
Tesla up there?
Right over your left shoulder.
You're in Franklin County. They're going to see that Tesla there, and they might do something to it tonight.
Now, they've already got used to me. They
Okay.
kind of know me right now.
Have you found a way to put on the electric genie on so only solar power goes into that sucker so you can say that you're totally off the grid?
Wow.
I'm working on it.
Okay, just keep working on it.
Can you hook me up with some grants or something?
I'm the guy to look at. I'll do what I can.
Wheeling and dealing
Yeah,
already.
as long as it's not my money, But no, it's great to be with you guys again. Love your show, love your podcast. It's been an inspiration for me and Hermie Sadler since we got on there. We talked about a lot of things that we were going to do, and we were thinking about doing, make sure we could save our short tracks and take them to another level. And here we are in the spring, and here we are with some new stuff that we promised we'd do that we're now doing.
That is the most politician thing to say. That
Thank you.
me and Bodine are an
love it.
inspiration.
Wow.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
And I'm going to appreciate that, and we're going to get to that as well because you guys are doing big things.
Yeah, paid for and authorized by
so many-
Stanley for Senate, buddy.
So many levels. I mean, it's gonna be hard to break them down. But to introduce our third guest right here, he's a good friend of me and Bodine's. He is probably one of the few people in attendance here. I don't know, Steve. Did you make all 4 races this weekend?
Yeah.
Okay. You did it for work though, as well.
Mine's not fair. I got paid for it. So
Julian Austin, we're welcoming him. He actually attended all 4 as a fan, and I don't reckon too many did it. So, Julian, welcome. And what were your experiences from Martinsville this weekend in a nutshell?
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be on the show. I listen to it a lot, every week for that matter.
You got a great radio voice, by the way.
I've been
Told you he does.
Hey, I've been trying to get on the show. I mean, for a long time. So
We
this
wanted
is-
you here for Rick Houston. We tried to get you on for Rick Houston.
Yeah,
Something came up, yeah.
Yeah, something came up for that. But no, this is an honor to be here with you guys at this great facility. I've been coming to this facility all my life. I'm 36 years old for those that don't know, and I literally right in front of where we're sitting. I was hanging on that fence as a kid watching, Paul Radford and Bobby Radford,
Yep.
Rodney Cundiff, Kenny Minner, God rest his soul.
Tim and Tony McGuire.
Exactly, the McGuire boys. So,
Jimmy Mullins.
but yeah, talking about last night, I'm still kind of thawing out, and the postman could probably agree
oh
with this
my
sentiment.
gosh, what happened to the weather? That was
I mean-
brutal.
First of all, did they schedule a race or a football game? I don't get it.
Okay, so I made the mistake on Friday night. I said we had a rain delay, we had the big one, and a fight. I said,
Yes.
what? Yes, on Friday night. So yesterday I'm telling everybody, what more could happen? What more could happen? It's like the good Lord looked down and said, hey, have some snow and sleet too.
Yes.
Are you freaking kidding me? It was cold. It really was. The thing of it is, and you were up there, a lot of Hardy fans though hanging out watching it, but it did feel like it felt like a November college football game is what it felt like at night.
It really did. I was waiting for Virginia Tech and Virginia to march out there and play a little football. I mean, that was ridiculous.
Well,
I mean,
Bodine made a good point earlier. I think if that race was held in June or July, that place would have been slam packed last night. It would have been the biggest race of the year, I think. Martinsville, nighttime. But the weather really does turn people away anymore with HDTV and the access to all that kind of nonsense.
And I like to point out, though, that from a racing perspective, you have that hot summer sun hitting that black asphalt, and the cars get slick and sliding around, the tires just fall off. That, to me, makes the racing better. It's just it's a combination of the time of the year to make the crowd is more happy, but it makes the racing better. It is not, you don't get better than that.
Well, I agree with you, Bodine. I mean, if anybody who's been to a race, they'll notice the little chunks of tires built up in the corners. You did not see that last night at all. So that definitely affected the racing.
It's going to be interesting to me to see August in Richmond. We have a Sunday afternoon race, August in Richmond. The Richmond race used to be in the fall, and I loved it in the fall. I'm in the category of not necessarily happy with that change. But to your guys' point, we're going to have a Sunday race at Richmond with the heat and the sliding around. So, last night you had every article of clothing known to mankind with you. I'm assuming that Sunday in Richmond in August will be a little warmer. You might be down a few layers of clothing.
I would hope so.
But I think the
Bodine
racing,
in a bikini top.
I'm not sure we need to go there.
Why are you putting that in?
There's certain things you just can't. You can't take out of your mind. But you, despite all of that, you are going to see some slip sliding around. That's for sure.
Hey,
so it's going to be cool.
Aren't we trying to promote short track racing? Bodine in a skimpy outfit. That's
definitely not.
That's not going to do
It's
it.
a hard pass.
Bring
right
a different crowd in, wouldn't
That's
it?
on a whole nother level.
Bring entirely different
emphasis on different. That's for sure.
So the first thing I want to touch on right here in this segment, right, is, I texted the senator here a couple hours ago, said, hey, we're over here in turn 1 and 2, let us know. He texted me immediately back, said, we're over here in the blue 10 on the front stretch. Got done a couple things, me and Bodine walked over that way. Then we look over there, and there you are, Steve, standing there. And for somebody that this is your first time up to this speedway, the look on your face, you were in awe.
Yeah. This is such a throwback place. I like new shiny things. I'm fine with new shiny racetracks. But what I like more is racetracks that are not so new and shiny. I just posted on my Twitter account. I said not awesome in a new and shiny way, awesome in if this place could talk way.
Oh yeah.
And you guys, I listened to your podcast, the one from this week on the way up, and listening to the stories about this place, and I think I knew there was good modified history and racing history here. I knew there was, but to get the depth of it. And the beauty of this thing is it's a historical racetrack, and the charm has stayed the same. You come over you crest the hill, and there's someone there taking your tickets. In this case, it happened to be Langley, the promoter, taking your tickets, and you just do it. And
cash only, by the way.
Cash only.
None of that credit card nonsense.
And so it's just such a neat throwback. And the racetrack, it hadn't been paved since 1969. These modifieds are going to be awesome on it. And I think it ties in really, really well with what the Senator has going on with the Heritage Trail. And I know you guys, I may be jumping the gun a little bit, but my description of this, and the Senator and I chatted just a little bit as well, my description of this is the history of the sport, the history of the culture, the history of this area. It's what you guys do with your podcast.
Yes.
It's what you guys do with your podcast. And it's so important, for us to keep this history. Amen. And that's why with Senator's program that he has with the Heritage Trail, I'm so excited about it. I'm excited to be here today, but I'm excited that we're going to work hard and keep these things so that we can continue to enjoy them.
Well, now we're going to have to peel back a whole other bunch of layers, because the last time we had the Senator on here, we were talking about big things coming to the state and big things with the fight in Richmond with the gaming situation, and then you and Hermie were up here racing.
Yeah.
Here we are 6 months later, Red Wave in Virginia. You now have 2 cars out here racing in the. I mean, that weekend at Motor Mile, I think, really hooked every single week. We've all just taken off in crazy.
Yeah.
You also have a podcast too.
Yeah, and it was like a crystal ball. We kind of foretold the future of what we wanted to do, and then we really set our minds to it, including you guys. You got a great podcast, and and we emulate you, and we do a podcast called Turning Right and Leaning Left Leaning Right and Turning Left with Sadler and the Senator. He turns left, I lean right. We talk about politics, racing, and especially even the Skill Games lawsuit, but even the government overreach of small business in so many different areas. That's what we were talking about at the time when I convinced Hermie to get in a modified for the first time and run the motor mile, and I sponsored the car. And we'd always talked about doing maybe a race team together, but that kind of started to scratch the itch he was starting to have. He got out of that car with his eyes twinkling and a glow, and so we put a plan together to do that, and at the same time making sure the NASCAR stock car heritage trail in the Commonwealth of Virginia was coming alive, so we could take this whole Smart Series and short track racing and the short tracks in the rural areas to another level, get them the recognition that they deserve. We should be treating them like historical places in the same way that we treat, say, Mount Vernon or Monticello, and we really need to know and understand that our small areas depend on these places, and so does, I think, the future of racing. So we're just thrilled to be a part of it. We really, really are. And you guys got us started there, you and Bodine.
I'm going to take that as one of the biggest compliments we've had, and I love what you all are doing as well. And everybody, at this point in time, kind of has an obligation almost, to try and preserve and take care of what you care about. And appreciate it, show up and support it. And even, Steve, you and me were talking about this over there on the front stretch. I was like, look, my libertarian values tell me I don't want taxes going to anything whatsoever. I want to keep my money, and I don't want to have to fool with that kind of stuff. But that's an ideology. Realistically, I'm going to support the things that are going to better help my community, that are going to better help the things that I appreciate, that I can support. And Franklin County Speedway is a big part of our community, and it can also be a big part of moving forward, with days like this.
Yeah.
I can't remember a day with as much excitement as today has brought us.
Well, if we lose these short tracks, we lose our history. We lose what's great about America and about Virginia, about North Carolina, where racing started. If we're going to rebuild racing and the love for racing with the newer generations, we got to take them back to the original spots where racing began, and we've got to preserve them and those spots, and we've got to teach in the same way. The love that we have for the sport doesn't come easily to our children. I mean, my son's not a gearhead like we all were. They're more computer-driven, computer-oriented. That's why your iRacing can come back in. But I brought him out here for the first time, and he's hooked. Now, of course, he's rooting against my car for Bobby Labonte's 25, and that's creating some problems. I told him he's not going to college now, but he can deal with that. But this is the greatest thing ever. And you got Steve Park here. I mean, that's history. You got Matthew Dillner, who knows probably everything about everything there is to know about every track in the United States, and Lost Speedways, the show he does. These are the people that care. These are the people that will fight, and ultimately that's what's going to keep these tracks here. We're losing potentially Southside Speedway, where Wendell Scott won a track championship as the first African-American driver in stock car racing Grand National, and that got sold to the county of Chesterfield, and they're going to make soccer parks and soccer fields out of that.
Ain't that
That's
a shame?
ridiculous.
Yeah.
When in fact they could really do something great with it.
And I think the thing, and I love the timing with Senator Stanley's program there. I love the timing because the time is now. And this is more than Virginia or North Carolina. There is a short track wave sweeping over the country.
It's a revolution.
It is a revolution going on in short track racing. And I think there's so many reasons it is. I think it's Kyle Larson. I think it's Josh Berry. I think it's SRX. I think it's this. I think it's that. I think it's I think the pay-per-view, because you can subscribe to Flow Racing or Dirt Vision and see the NASCAR weekly racing series. I have a friend over in West Virginia, and she was just blown away by the NASCAR weekly racing series from Langley last night and various other tracks. And so I think we're at a spot where the timing of this is, it's a wave going on. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of young people coming out to these racetracks, and I think the timing is right now. And then you throw in programs like the Senator has with the Heritage Trail to keep these places going. The time is now. The ground is rich right now. The people are ready to go to racetracks, are ready to do things. We're at such a neat time in the sport, and it's time to go.
Speaking of flow racing, if there was an argument like any of these places that are streaming these short track events, like that would take the attendance away from the actual racetrack, I think that's malarkey.
I do too.
If anything, that is promoting the sport, because I know if I see something for the first time, I want to experience that live
Yeah.
in person because you can't beat it. You can't beat the smells. You can't beat the taste,
right.
and you can't beat the noise that is actually at a racetrack.
And the
Like
car
that
fires
noise.
up as soon
Like
as you
that
say
noise.
that.
That's right, the noise
Hey,
on
perfect,
cue.
perfect time.
I want to follow on that point because I have a really dear friend, Rex Lejeune, is the general manager at Attica Raceway Park up in Western Ohio. And Rex told me 7 years ago, you will never see pay-per-view at my racetrack. It takes away from my gate. About 3 years ago, I read a press release that Dirt Vision's going to have weekly racing from Attica Raceway Park. So I'm like,
that?
Rex, what happened here? He said, we did the World of Outlaw races. We did some other things on pay-per-view. He said, this makes no sense at all to me. He said, but our crowds get bigger when we do pay-per-view races. And what it is, and as time has learned, what he's learned is the experience of being at the racetrack is great, and Attica runs a fantastic show. 410 sprint cars, World of Outlaw type sprint cars. They run their sprint cars first by 9:30 on a Saturday night or on a Friday night. Those sprint cars are done, so families can come out and enjoy it and do it. But what he says it helps is when the family can't come, when there's something else going on, they can still follow it so that they don't lose that connection, so the following week they come back. And they're sitting around the house, and some friends come over to have drinks, and they have the race on. The friends start coming back, and it totally flies in the face of what he believed. But it's part of this revolution we have going on now.
And Julian is the one that told me about 4 or 5 years ago. Julian told me in a text message. He said, "Y'all need to keep up with this car store."
Oh.
Julian had been saying it.
Yep.
And I really believe that somewhere in that Cars tour sparked it. I believe that's where it lied.
Well, the Cars Tour has done amazing things. I was fortunate last year. I did 6 or 7 other races on pay-per-view. First and foremost, just great racers. Just absolute great racers they have there with the Cars Tour. But what it's also done is it spurred the whole growth of late model stock racing in the Mid-Atlantic area with South Boston and Langley and Dominion. I was up at Dominion last Saturday night, and they had their late models back last week. And then you have the Martinsville race, and now a big race at Southern National. What the Cars Tour has done is really solidified late model stock racing so that a driver can decide, I'm going to be a home track hero in South Boston and do really, really well. Or a driver can decide, I want to be a touring driver and can do well, and they can cross over. I think that has taken late model stock racing to a new level, and that brings it right back to Virginia, because I am telling you, late model stock racing in South Boston, Langley, Dominion, and places like that, there's nothing better in the world than that late model stock division.
Absolutely.
I got to go to qualifying. I'll be back.
Exactly.
My team's getting ready to qualify. I got
Team
go
owner's gotta
22.
go to work.
Jonathan Brown.
You can see, I gotta admit, when the senator was good. The senator was really good with our conversation. The senator was great with our conversation until the engines fired, and then all of a sudden he was a bigger name on other line.
He flipped a race team owner right quick, didn't he?
That's awesome. Good stuff.
Yeah, that was AJ.
Yeah.
That was
AJ Dudley.
our Commonwealth's attorney, who was actually promoted to judge here soon, I believe.
Yeah.
Wish he'd have jumped on here and said something or two, but I think we're doing pretty good right here. Appreciate the senator coming on here, and I think we can hear each other during qualifying.
Yeah,
here.
we're all right.
So, and it kind of leads me to a question I wanted to ask Steve earlier. I was like, I wonder what kind of mics and headsets you all use to be able to hear each other in Bristol.
Yeah. We have, I think the biggest thing is, and the mics are very directional, we have handheld microphones. Our turn guys have boom mics, so the microphone is directional and about a half inch from their mouth. Our pit mics are very directional, handheld mics. I think the biggest thing is that the headsets we have, really good seal around the ears.
Yeah.
But I am telling you, and I don't know if you knew this last night at Martinsville, these cars are louder than they used to be.
Yeah, you can definitely tell the pitch.
Yeah.
The pitch is a lot more. It's more bass in the engine.
More bass, yeah. And it's like a throaty sound. And down on the racetrack, It rumbles the ground. It rumbled the ground. When they went green, I could not believe it last night. When they went green, it rumbled the ground. So good headsets, good microphones, and a loud voice. That's the biggest thing as well.
And hearing loss.
And hearing loss, no doubt. Right ear not good, left ear still all right.
So,
Well, while we're here, we remiss to not mention that our boy Paul Hall is actually qualifying right now, and he turned in top 5 or 6 laps during practice. So we've got a lot of hope for him here. It's really fun to be sitting here talking about racing while guys are qualifying around the track.
Oh, he looks
That's
pretty sporty.
really cool. I mean, for me, that's really, really cool.
He looks pretty sporty out there.
He did.
Like I said,
He was pretty
when,
fast
when
in
they announced the practice, he was top, I think, 5 or 6. Both him and Hirschman, Burt Myers, not Hirschman, I'm sorry, Gershner. Both Hillbilly Racing guys were in the top 5, I believe, and then Burt and Bobby and somebody else.
Well, speaking of Hirschman, he'd be right up the top, you would think.
Oh, yeah.
If he was here.
We'll talk about that, Steve. You've been paying attention to Steve, to Matt Hirschman.
It's incredible what that guy does. He is one of the most machine-like people that there is. It's almost like there's no emotion. It is just an assassin. He's just like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to save my tires until lap 62 and a half. And at lap 62 and a half, I'm going to gas it up and I'm going to have just enough tires to make it to lap 99 or lap 100 or whatever it is. The guy is so talented. It's unreal.
So Chris Williams told me that after the race, he stays after for 2 hours working on the car after the race. He goes through the whole car before he ever leaves the track.
And it's that commitment, that detail-oriented, because that way you know exactly what the car did, where it traveled to,
Yes.
and it's fresh in your mind, too. You don't say, if you have a little bump up with somebody on lap 37, you might forget about it, but if you see, hey, something happened and the car did this, and you see, well, maybe there's a shock vent or something dinged up, lap 37, I had that. He does it while he's fresh in mind. It's all part of the machine that Big Money Matt Hirschman is. He just is so detail-oriented. It's impressive to watch how good he is with that stuff.
Yep, and he would be up here. I'm really surprised he's not, but I think he's running for money in a couple other
I think
tracks.
there's Thompson, I think, is where they're running this weekend.
He's a champion without a place to win a trophy.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was to race any tour he was on, he would be champion probably in at least 80% of them.
Well,
but
look,
look,
he's leading the Smart Tour points. He's not here now, but he's leading the Smart Tour points, okay? He won the NASCAR season opener down at New Smyrna. He was the man to beat down there with New Smyrna with the World Series of Racing.
That's really saying something.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is huge.
Yeah, exactly. To go in there, and the guys that raced the modified tour at Richmond last week were glad he wasn't there.
Yeah.
So,
I was
it's
wondering.
like,
It was kind of surprising he wasn't.
I think, and I heard Chris on your podcast this week made the most sense with Matt. Matt is a guy that just likes a variety of tracks. And Richmond is Richmond is a great racetrack, but for those modifieds, it's kind of like your high-speed super speedway, where South Boston is a racier joint. And I think you get a guy like Matt Hirschman, he's going to go where he wants to try to race. The history of South Boston's important to him, and I think that's why he made the decision to run South Boston on Saturday as opposed to Richmond on Friday night.
The crazy thing is, I'm pretty sure, Smart Mods at South Boston had 4 or 5 times the attendance that Richmond had, which was shocking to me, honestly.
Yeah.
They did have a big crowd. I mean, it's like, and Richmond, Richmond is I was watching it, and it's fascinating to watch and see that. The problem that a place like that has is they seat so many people. I think they had a few more people than we all assumed in Richmond. I really do. It just doesn't look like it with those huge grandstands.
They were spread out.
Yeah, spread out.
Spread out when you have that, when you can seat that many people, you're going to run into that problem.
Well, and I'm telling you, South Boston is knocking it out of the ballpark. I mean, every time they open up, it's a good show, a great crowd. They have really got things rolling at South Boston. So you bring the modifieds in, which has a rich history. It was a tribute to Ray Hendrick. They did such a nice job with that. And you got good weather. That's the combination to have a big crowd at a track like South Boston.
And again, we touched on earlier, they are really acknowledging the history of the sport, because when you think of Ray Hendrick, a lot of thoughts come into your mind.
Yeah.
That car he ran was iconic.
That number on the car, you see that number on any car, and you know whose number it is with the flame on it, with the
Without a
fireball.
doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without a
You know
doubt.
who it is. You know who it is. I remember a couple years ago, Denny Hamlin did a throwback. with that fireball paint scheme on
He
there.
did at Darlington.
At Darlington, he did a throwback, and you knew exactly what it was a throwback to. And it's really, really cool. So it's fun stuff. It really is.
Well, since we're on the subject of South Boston, are you, Steve, planning on attending the SRX Series race in South Boston? And what are your thoughts on it in general?
I think the SRX is at a crossroads. I think they had a really, really good first year, and I think they're poised to have a good second year, but I think they need to do it. And it's tough to come back a second year, and what are you going to do better? What are you going to do for me now? And so I think it's interesting. It is at a crossroads, and we'll see how it happens. I've not hit one of the races, and I don't have any of the scheduled this year, just the way my MRN and my sprint car schedule goes. I don't have any of them that I can hit this year, so I would love to go see one of them. I really would. I've watched a couple of them on TV when I'm around a hotel and not out at a local racetrack, and I love what they're doing. But to me, this is as important as the first year was. I think this is the most important year because which way are you going to go? Are you going to stay the same? Are you going to decline a little bit? Or are you going to improve? And we'll see how that goes. They need to keep improving.
Like a sophomore jinx.
That's right. You've got to watch. You've really got to watch with it. What a program it is, though. And I just saw last night they're doing Pensacola, Florida. And last night Bubba Pollard won a race that gave him the spot at Pensacola, which you get Bubba Pollard right there, the ticket offices, the ticket window just went through the roof at Pensacola when you get Bubba Pollard in one of those cars. So, like I said, they're doing a lot of things right. They really are.
Yeah, and you're having to run like consolation races almost to get into it, like at different tracks.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
And that's what they did last night. And Bubba Pollard was the winner last night. And that is if you're SRX, you want a race for the super late models to try to get somebody in, and you want Bubba Pollard to win that race, and they got what they wanted. So it's going to be interesting to see what Bubba Pollard does in that SRX race, and that to me is such a big part of it. So I think that local star has been really, really good. Doug Colby with the modified racer up at Stafford.
Yeah.
You know, the guy up at Slinger, the Fenhouse up at Slinger that did so good. I think it's good. And they won when they got Bubba Pollard to win that race last night. The SRX won to have him in the field at Pensacola.
Man, that's going to be a treat watching him wheel that car.
Yeah, exactly.
With all those superstars. I mean, that's the biggest appeal of SRX, in my opinion, is you bring in the legends, which is great, but having the ringers come in and getting an opportunity to compete with these guys when they probably would not have that chance, that is worthwhile to me.
You're absolutely right. That's the format I think that works. They just need to make it work for this second year and get a little bit bigger.
Well, I think as far as South Boston is concerned, this past week they announced that Peyton Sellers, and that's a good thing they do as well.
Absolutely.
They find those local guys,
Right.
and Peyton Sellers is going to be that guy in South Boston. And crazy story, my day job is driving a tractor trailer. I drive an 18-wheeler, 150-mile radius of roto, making deliveries in the craziest places you can imagine. And about a month and a half ago, I actually had a delivery to Peyton Sellers. And I go in there and I walk in the back side of his shop, and I'm just expecting, just a normal operational business kind of place. I walk through the back and I walk through the front, and it's just like 7 late models sitting there, all just beautiful looking cars, trophies everywhere, and I was in awe. I mean, the cool things I get to do as a driver. Another one would be going down to Virginia International. If you've ever been down there before, they've got tons of little shops on the side of the track. Right. Tons and tons of cars there, and getting to deliver there and see all those cars. I mean, things like this interest me, and I know having somebody like Peyton run South Boston in the SRX with some of the greatest drivers on the planet is such a good selling point.
It really is, and Peyton could not be a nicer guy. And I actually supported Clarence's Steakhouse. That's his sponsor. I supported them on the way up here. I had great food down in Martinsville. But Peyton, I want to share with you guys, Peyton is just one of those really, really neat guys. I did a 5K in Danville on Saturday morning, 5K. Out of the blue, Peyton Sellers, he doesn't have to do this. My wife is with the Cancer Association board and helps out with the event with the 5K. You're going to enjoy the bridge-to-bridge run. It's a fun course. Enjoy it. I'm in Fredericksburg racing at Dominion. If you need anything while in Danville, let me know.
Really?
That's Peyton Sellers.
Dude, that's class.
Just out of the blue. He didn't have to do that. It was just, I was like, thanks so much, and just really cool. That's the kind of guy Peyton Sellers is. And to your point, throw him at South Boston in an SRX car, and everybody else running in that race is going to have a handful because he knows that track.
Do you think of? Sorry, I was waiting.
We're waiting on you, Bodine.
I don't know. I had a thought there, and then the race car went around, and I lost my thought.
Well, that's easy to do. I mean, you got race cars going on out here.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild, and plus we also, he might not be able to hear us, and his mic isn't turned on, but the Crumb Snatcher just joined us. First time he didn't turn your mic on.
I can't hear anything. I just want to go tackle the Easter Bunny.
There you go. Yeah, the Easter Bunny just walked by.
Yeah, it is probably pretty difficult, and I assume the audio's coming through pretty sound.
We'll find out.
And the roar of the cars behind us makes this such a better show.
Just to give you guys,
it reminds me of listening to, once again, MRN as a kid growing up and hearing you guys call these races with the cars in the background. It's just, it's a cool experience.
We actually tested it out earlier. It wasn't that bad.
Well, if the smart mods are all collectively on the track, it's bad news. You can't hear nothing. But if it's just one at a time, it adds just that right bit of flair to make the show so much better. I wish we were live. We can't we were just happy today to be able to actually have power. That was a concern coming up here, as actually having power to hook up. So
that's cool. It really is. Just to give you an idea, Caleb Hetty is the fastest driver. He's right now leading it. And I think that's part of the beauty. I think that's part of the rich heritage of this division. He's driving for Tommy Baldwin. Tommy Baldwin is a former Daytona 500 winning crew chief. He won with Ward Burton. And I just think it's so neat that Tommy is fielding a car in this thing. Caleb Hetty is a kid from up in Kentucky. I used to do it because I've done the summer shootout for the last 25 years. He was one of my summer shootout kids, and now he's gone full-time in this. He's had some good runs. He won at Caraway a few weeks ago, and thus far he's given Tommy's car a pretty good run here. As I think we're 18 cars deep into this thing, and he's quick time. So I think that's the beauty of this. There's so many good stories. Everybody has a story, and Caleb Hetty, young racer, driving for the veteran Tommy Baldwin. I love that combination.
And when they rolled in, they were in an old Ford hauler. It was nothing fancy about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, it had TBR on it. I'm like, dang, that's Tommy Baldwin. You know, I kind of in my mind pictured him coming in with a new rig or whatever. No, it was straight old school.
Tommy knows the money is in that race car. The speed is in that race car, not necessarily on how you get it to the racetrack. Tommy's old school. Tommy's old school. There goes the Easter Bunny again.
There goes the Easter Bunny.
Well, we were talking about Dowdy earlier too, and Mark Dowdy, that's your name, right, Mark?
Yeah.
Mark,
They're here. I just missed the car.
Well, we both missed. I don't think they pulled them out of the trailers when we made our walk through the pit.
I don't think it did either. I think they were like Earnhardt. They waited till their time to start practice. They just drove it out of the trailer right onto the track.
Well, I mean, they're such an integral part of this area as well. You know, with Hayes Jewelers being such a long-time sponsor of so many great modified drivers, local drivers. You know, we talked about that last week. And they have Clarence as a sponsor as well, correct?
Clarence is on his back and Hayes Jeweler was on his side.
Wow, that's quite a combination, that's for sure. That is a great combination.
Yeah,
that's as absolute local as you get.
They usually have two cars, but one of them didn't show up. One of them probably got took out in that. I think one of them got took out in that pile up.
Oh, that's South Boston last week.
Yeah, they had a huge pile.
God, I couldn't believe that. That's crazy.
Well, that's a big reason for this weekend. I was half expecting to get a couple of NASCAR guys to drop down and race this weekend.
Yep.
I'm a little shocked that they didn't. I mean, but you know, with that being said, you also have a lot of the cars with parts and supply chain issues and things like that.
Things are tough. Things are challenging. It really is. It really is. The challenge with the NASCAR world right now is just that we're in such a crush of race after race after race, and you know, this year there's one off weekend. So when these guys get a Sunday afternoon off, I mean, when these guys face it, everybody in our industry was headed out of Richmond last night. What are you doing tomorrow? I'm going here. And what are you doing? I'm going to another race. You've lost your mind. You know, I mean, it's just It's just when you get a day off and a Sunday off, there's a lot of people like to take advantage of it. That's for sure.
Well, that's a day like today.
Yeah, it is a day off, really, though. We're just relaxing, having a good time. So
Yeah, just sitting around here just praying to God my wife doesn't send me a text message.
There you go.
saying
It's that time.
She's going into labor. Because, and we touched on this earlier, we had a gender reveal party back in October. And I get off of work, my entire family is there. And right before we start the festivities, which is supposed to be fairly quick, Senator Stanley, who we just had on here a second ago, gives me a phone call, and he's talking about bringing us up to Motor Mouth Speedway, sitting in Turn 3, getting a podcast with Hermie Sadler, Bobby Labonte. I mean, freaking Bobby Labonte.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, I have his cars that I never opened as a kid. I mean, that's the respect I have. And my son is going to be revealed. Here we are 6 months later,
And he's due.
he is 4 days
Overdue,
freaking
yeah.
due. So I'm here hoping that things like that don't. Just one more day. Just give me
One more day. Give me 6 more hours, 7 more hours, it'd be all right.
That's all I need.
So Chris Williams' truck down here has, in the Pace truck, has 3 Champ as his personalized tag. Chris seen him earlier, and he said Bobby Labonte came to him and said, every time I see that truck up there, I have flashbacks. I see that tag.
Yeah,
and
the 3
I
Champ,
think, I think he's having flashbacks to the 98 500, and I think I asked Chris if that's what it was when he finished second to Earnhardt.
That's funny. It's funny. Brandon Ward was
Well,
the
that's-
fastest, so he'll be the pole sitter for the race. Brandon Ward, Caleb Hetty, Jonathan Brown, Dennis Holdren, and Bobby Labonte 5th fastest. I know you guys were talking about Hall 15th fastest.
15th
fastest. So
today.
23 cars took
He's got
time.
a chance. He can still get up there.
There's still a couple more. There's still a couple. Oh, okay. I thought it might be over. There still looks like 3 or 4 more cars.
What are we doing now? Are we doing practice for the crate mods?
Oh, is that what we got?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Well,
they've already
Great
done
mods.
practice.
Yeah, crate mods are out next. Yes.
Oh, I know what it is, because they're the weekly series. They'll have a short practice session, and that'll be their qualifying.
Practice
That's how they
qualifying,
start. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Fun stuff. Really is.
Dean, can you hear us now?
I can hear you a little bit now. Yeah, I got
Well, for all interested parties, Steve, this is the Crumb Snatcher. This is the guy that hooked all of us up in the beginning.
The Crumb Snatcher, all right.
Yeah, he's kind of our PR guy. Dean, can you tell us all why you have the nickname Crumb Snatcher?
Well,
There's a story here.
I kind of sneak in there at the last minute. That's always been the thing.
Oh boy.
So, yeah.
With food, of course. Yes. With
Yeah,
exactly.
well, yeah. We'll call them food. We'll call them food.
There you go. That's funny.
You may want to save that story for the VIP appearance, right?
Yeah. So,
The Appalachian Podcast VIP weekend
the-
experience.
Only fans for the Appalachian broadcast. That's
Only
right.
fans. Oh, that's what we need.
I mean, we can go back to boating in a bikini and.
Well, yeah, you try to get numbers, not lose numbers.
Yeah, I know you're saying. I don't know if anybody wants to see all that.
That's funny.
So,
Well, Steve, so going back to our previous show while we have the crate mods out here practicing, we've been, how many races are we in now for NASCAR? Like 7, 8? It's 8.
8, yeah,
Right?
8 races. in.
So, we did our show before the season started. So what are your thoughts on the season? To this point in time, there's been some really good highs.
Yep.
Been a lot of excitement.
Racing has been really, really interesting, that's for sure. First and foremost, you have 3 first-time winners, which I think is awesome. Austin Cindric winning the Daytona 500, Chase Briscoe winning at Phoenix, and then Ross Chastain with that wild finish down at Coda.
What a first 8 races.
Yeah, I mean, so you have that through the first 6 races. You had 3 first-time winners and 3 Hendrick winners. So it's like, well, what's new and what's old?
Yeah.
It's kind of changed up with Denny getting the win at Richmond last week, and then William Byron last night became the first multi-time winner on the tour. I think where I stand with it, I think the racing has been phenomenal. I think some of the new names at the front of the field are interesting, and let's see if they can maintain their spot there. Chase Briscoe picked up that win at Phoenix. Where's he going to be at in points in August? We'll see. Stay tuned. I think the one that's fascinating me the most is Ross Chastain picking up that win at Coda, but continuing to maintain. Last night,
He's
they-
top 5,
top
10
five.
all year long.
All year long. He's been the
All
most
year.
consistent driver. That's one of the newer teams, Trackhouse Racing. They've been around for a few years. They bought out Chip Ganassi, and I think that team has done really, really well, and I think it's interesting to see how this goes. Ross, you're kind of like, okay, he's had a great start. Let's see where this goes. They show up in Martinsville on Friday. They qualify 25th fastest, and they're not good. You're like, okay, here we go. This is where
This is where they break.
This is where everyone starts to get where they belong in the pecking order. He scratches, claws, digs, works on his race car. He told us on the MRN interview afterward, it took him 400 laps, but he went from 25th to 5th. That bodes really well for that team maybe hanging on to one of those spots up at the front of the field. Well, if someone hangs on a spot at the front of the field, that means someone who was at the front of the field doesn't have one of those spots. And I think we're at a really neat time with NASCAR to see who does what there.
You talk about Ross Chastain. Does that really show that that start is not a fluke?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, for them to battle back the way they
Correct.
did at a race where passing was at a premium.
Yeah, it was tough.
Very tough to do. I thought that was very impressive. I was very impressed of Austin Dillon.
Yes, I agree with that
at
too.
Martinsville. I mean, he started 28 and made his way up to third place.
Yep. I think that does bode well because passing was at a premium last night, and there are a couple guys that figured it out how to do it, and that really speaks well for where their programs are at, where their cars are at. And then Ross Chastain, he is just, I'll drive you. Ross Chastain, the old Ross Chastain was, I'm going to show up at a racetrack with a helmet. If you have a race car, I'll drive it.
Yeah.
And I'll drive it. I'll put my elbows up and I'll drive it. Now that he's got a full-time ride, his motto is, I'll just want it more than you. And we saw that at COTA. We saw that with the last lap at COTA. I mean, to pinball Alex Bowman into A.J. Allmendinger to win that race, he just wanted it, and that's ultimately what it is. He is a great story. To me, as impressive as COTA was, I'm with you. Last night was the most impressive that Ross Chastain has been with that run last night because it's good to have momentum. It's good to have every day you go to the racetrack is sunshine and roses. Friday was not sunshine and roses, and for them to come back and do what they did last night speaks well for that team.
Yeah, you talk about the other side of the spectrum. Where was Denny Hamlin?
I don't know.
I mean, he comes from winning. I mean, everyone thought Joe Gibbs Racing is back. They figured it out. And then at Martinsville,
Really,
Christopher
all of them.
Bell is the only top 10 car for the most part.
Christopher Bell was all right.
And he wasn't competitive.
No, he was a 6th to 10th place car that managed to keep a 6th to 10th place spot.
Yeah, he wasn't competitive at all. It's like, where did the Joe Gibbs cars? Well, none of the Toyotas for that matter.
No, Kurt Busch was good.
Kurt
Busch was good, yeah.
Yep, Kurt Busch was good.
And Bubba snuck up there and got a solid finish by the end of the night. Martin Truex Jr. They had a loose wheel. Martin Truex Jr. had a loose wheel, and he had come down and pit it before the wheel came off, and he had a four race suspension for his crew chief. And Kyle Busch, I forget what happened. Kyle, he had an extra trip down pit road or something. He had a problem at some point in the day. But Denny was the shocker to me because Denny Hamlin did not lose laps on a bad pit stop or a pit penalty. He lost laps
Under
the
green.
old-fashioned way, slower than everyone else. He was battling, and this is I mean nothing in disrespect to Michael McDowell, okay, and the Front Row Motorsports team, one of the smaller teams. Denny was battling and had to rough up Michael McDowell and did not succeed at it for a lucky dog spot.
Yes.
Yes.
Did
Wasn't
not-
that something?
that's-
That perspective, because they missed
They missed it that bad.
They said it was A.J. Allmendinger, but it ended up being Michael McDowell for that same
And again, no
sequence.
disrespect for Michael McDowell, but when you think of Martinsville, Denny
think of
Hamlin and
Denny
Michael McDowell are usually not on the same page. They were on the same page. It's unreal.
And Michael McDowell was essentially a better car.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was. There was times in that race where Michael had that car wound up pretty good. And then that's an interesting team, okay? Todd Gilliland goes up and qualifies in the top 10 on Friday. So we see these moments for these teams, and I think that's what's been the fun part about this year, those moments when they jump up there. Tyler Reddick has had moments where he's been up there. Chase Briscoe obviously won Phoenix. Ross Chastain said earlier this year, he said, I want to get to the point where you're no longer shocked that I'm standing on the front stretch at the end of the day.
I think he's reached
we're
that
starting
level.
to get to
I
that
think he's
point.
reached that level.
You know,
I think he did.
Yeah, we're starting to get to that point, and last night was another chapter in that.
I was actually impressed with COTA as well, because I was really critical of last year's race in the rain. I was like, man, this really did suck.
I actually like the Coda race,
Yeah.
which I love road course racing a lot. I think it actually put on a pretty good show.
I'm glad they had good weather to give it a fair shake.
Yeah, because it was terrible. It's
Terrible
still
last year.
not my favorite road course. I'm still the Watkins Glen guy, but I actually liked Coda. I think it put on a good show.
Yeah,
it
it
had a
was
lot
fun.
of good racing, and but I was glad to see the track for what it was worth.
Well, we had discussed that in our little text thread that we have. You know, give Coda another chance, because the
Correct.
monsoon last year, you could not.
It
That
wa-
wasn't a fair shake.
No,
That's
it
not
wasn't.
actual racing. That's not what you're normally going to see. So yeah, Coda was fascinating, and I'll be very curious to talk about road course racing. Sonoma, when believe I'm right on this, they took away the carousel.
They did.
So
And I was a fan of the carousel because it was what we seen as a kid. But now that I've raced it on iRacing, ironically, the carousel. Well, no, the
I knew he
carousel.
had
He
to.
had to talk.
Well, no, hold on. I'm gonna
bringing up
I'm gonna get to the
iRacing
point.
It's like a vegan talking about not going to Wendy's. You
So
know what I mean?
the carousel actually takes away several passing zones. And when you add the newer configuration that they've been running for the last 10 or 20 years, it actually is more passing zones. And I didn't really realize that carousel is just you go down that long sweeping curve, the cars can't really even get back in the throttle and pass each other. And you just come to a dead end at the end of that straight, and there's no passing zones. And that's really why the drivers liked the carousel. It was cool because it was the old way of doing it, but it was terrible.
I'm with you, Bodine, and it seems like when they come down that chute, it's like at times it's bowling for race cars when they get down
It
to the
is.
bottom of that chute, but it gives you a braking zone and a passing zone that we've seen a lot of drivers take advantage of.
Yeah, Tony Stewart made some famous passes in
gosh,
that
yes,
thing,
you're right,
and
yeah.
it made for a good show at Sonoma in the last race there with that carousel. It sucked, but you got to be able to pass. You're not going to do it in turns 1, 2, 3.
No, you get to the top of the
And
hill there. No, there's no way. Unless
Until you
someone
get
gets
to the
off
bottom
course,
of the
yeah.
hill, you're not going to have any passing zones, and
Yeah.
that's.
I thought the carousel would bring more passing zones in, and it really didn't.
I really don't understand why.
I don't either.
But it just doesn't.
No. I thought I totally agree with you. It was like, oh, good. I'm glad they brought the carousel back.
Yeah,
It
old
was like,
school.
yeah, they just rode around the carousel.
They
You know,
did.
I mean, it's just they just rode around there. So I don't know.
I'm curious. Everybody, Tony Stewart's been outspoken about the boot at Watkins Glen. I'm like, let's just not screw that up. Let's just leave it alone. We seen what happened with the carousel. Let's not put
Yeah.
the boot in at the Glen.
Yeah, that's a lot of elevation down through there.
If I look at a race last year, and my favorite race last year, without a doubt, was a Watkins Glen race. I loved every second. I could have watched another 100 laps.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It's just I was that
Good stuff.
entertained.
Watkins Glen's always fun. Really is high speed road racing.
And I want to go there because I've never been.
Oh, it's a
I
great
want to
time.
sit right where that fan walked out of the stands and got Matt Kenseth's autograph.
So we talked about this on the last show. I'm pretty sure.
That's funny.
That's exactly where I want to sit.
That's cool. Good stuff. Watkins Glen is great. It really is.
I like to go up there. I think the weather would be great.
Beautiful.
I think it's
Finger Lakes of New York.
Well,
are
second
awesome.
weekend of August. I mean, tremendous. That's tremendous weather.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially for that part of the country.
Yeah, it's
Down
beautiful.
here, second weekend in August is mosquito weather in Franklin County, but I would assume upstate New York would be just.
Well, I guarantee you, we would have took that over what we had last night.
Yeah, for
Oh,
real.
you're right about that. My gosh.
I mean, my goodness.
Well, while we got you on here, Dean, and we have a lull in the cars driving by.
Yes.
How you doing? Because we haven't had you on here in a while. You've been in and out of the hospital.
Yeah, I've had a few different little things going on there, but we're getting there. We're about 90%, so we're getting there slowly. So
Can't lift but 10 pounds.
yeah, something like that. I mean,
Hey,
it's
you can't even
just,
lift a gallon of milk.
it's just one of them things. But I mean, we're getting there slowly.
Well, I mean, here I'm thinking if you were 100% right now and we were still rolling how we were about a month and a half ago with the shows, I don't know how we would possibly be able to keep up. We're so jam-packed and stacked right now with people. Like, I really want to get Henry Law on here, and we're talking about him coming on. We got the Rooster Walk guys. We're trying to get in touch with them. So many of these racing people. And then today is just like a culmination of all that. You know, I mean, we're right at 1 year into this dig. You know, at the end of this month will be the 1 year anniversary of our very first show.
Neat. That's cool.
And, you know, the average podcast out there, if you Google what's the average podcast get, like 29 listens.
Right.
I mean, we are so far ahead of all of that. Like what we've accomplished in the past year. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Racing's done it for us.
And yeah, well, racing has done it. Dean working very hard has done it. Bo Dean adding his 2 cents. I mean, it's just kind of it's more to the aspect of how today is. You know, when you add all the local aspect into things. I mean, for the love of God, we're sitting here in a place. I used to sit up here right above us before this whole shenanigan was anything other than a piss trough. And that's all it was. You go in there, and if you're in the guy's bathroom, you pee in a trough. That's all it was. Mm-hmm. And, you know, here we are.
I remember that all too well.
As far as I know, it's still there.
30 years later, we are sitting here below it, looking at some of the best racers in the region right now, one of the hottest tours, talking with one of the biggest voices of one of the biggest racing networks on the planet. I mean, I can't even fathom picturing this 30 years ago.
Well, we're at a neat time with communications. I mean, we just are. We know what the world has become with when you look at news programming and everything. It's become a shouting match. And you get 8 minutes to shout louder than the other person, and the end of 8 minutes they go to a commercial, and you come back and you got 8 minutes to yell about another topic louder than the other person. And I think we're at such an exciting time in our world of communication because long form conversation is coming back, and it is coming back big.
Yes.
It's coming back strong. It's coming back on a national level. When you look at what guys like Joe Rogan are doing with conversations,
absolutely. Even Dale Jr.
Dale Jr. in motorsports, Dale Jr. is leading the way, and those shows are getting huge numbers what those shows are getting, but that also works on a regional level. You guys here able to have long form conversations about the region, about the music, about the racing here, about all of this, and long form conversations. We just had Senator Stanley on long form conversations, maybe a little political angle to it here in the state of Virginia. And I just think that we live in a world where everyone is sick and tired of screaming and hollering for 6 or 8 minutes at each other. Nothing gets accomplished. Where it's like, what's your view? What's my view? We're, in this podcast, we're all just kind of enjoying the same view and sharing our passions. And I think it's just such a neat time for the sport. I really do. For the world, because I think podcasting right now, long form conversations are so good. And you guys, now yeah, it is. And you guys are celebrating a year anniversary, and it's because of that, because people want to hear a civil conversation, maybe some different perspectives, and things that people have a passion for. You guys talking about racing is passionate, and that's what people want to hear.
And none of us have had like an extremely hot take, like where we're yelling at each other.
No.
Right, exactly. Well, there's been some, yeah. So what's going on? They're getting ready to do the driver meet and greet session.
I think so.
They're bringing the drivers out. They're going to stop them, and the fans are going to be able to do a meet and greet session with the drivers.
Yeah, so we're going to do our thing, and hopefully we'll be able to bring y'all a couple other segments with a couple other people. We're going to go and try and track down Dillner. Steve, if Mr. Dillner decides to come on here, we'd love to have you come on back on here with him, and let's talk more racing.
Yeah, let me know. But this has been great hanging out for sure.
If we have you on again, I can't wait. If not, it's been such an honor. Thank you so much, Julian, Jeff, Dean. Until our next segment.
Appreciate it.
Thank y'all so very much.
Thanks,
Steve.
Here we go. Thanks, guys.
Hopefully, we'll have you back here in like 10 minutes.
Absolutely. We'll see where we're at.
We're going to end this segment right here and talk to a few folks.
Crowd. I drank too much and I laughed too loud. That's just me. That's how I'll always be. I roll my own every now and then. I love a good buzz with a few close friends. That's just me. That's how I'll always be. Won't hear me beg. chasing your dreams. That's just me. That's how I'll always be. The road to the top, it ain't no easy climb. But if you love what you do, I believe you'll be fine. That's just me. That's how I'll always be. You won't hear me beg. I'm a bit too proud. I work my ass off for everything that I have. So let's take a drink. Baby, raise your glass. This is for the few country boys like me that we still have. I believe that God and Mama are your two best friends, but most of the time I don't listen to them. That's just me. That's how I'll always be. And I wait at the gates when it's my turn to fly, but I still raise hell until the day that I die. That's just me. That's how I'll always be. You won't hear me beg. I'm a bit too proud. I work my ass off for everything that I have. So let's take a drink. Baby, raise your glass. This is for the few country boys like me that we still have.
All right, we're back here with our next segment. We're pleased to introduce, of course, we got the Crumb Snatcher back, Julian, Bodie, myself.
The Crumb
here
Snatcher,
for this
yeah.
section. We have two legends in their own right. We've got Ryan Woods, who is the Franklin County Speedway IndyCar race greatest story probably we've ever told on this podcast. You were the focal point.
It's just crazy how that whole thing happens.
I wish you were racing today. We came up here today to root for you.
My car's not ready, sir.
Well, we have plenty more Saturdays to come up here tonight, talk to you, and talk about this big deal. We've also got joining us, you will recognize him from Lost Speedways on Peacock, Dirty Mo Media, the Dale Jr. podcast, and somebody we all enjoy following on every bit of social media we can, Mr. Matthew Dillner.
This is
Mr.
like
Dillner, thank
it's
you
the
so-
opposite, man. I enjoy following y'all.
We have
Wait, what? Yes.
we
Bodine.
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 we all
I need to get a shirt that just says Bodine on the front, like
I
an
just gotta say, like
exclamation.
with a bunch of like E's, almost like
yeah.
our eyes. Bodine.
And then exclamation marks.
Yeah, we got
That'd
a
be
T-shirt idea now.
Bodine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like 6
I'm not a
months
hack.
ago, when we started kind of turning a page on this podcast, and we thought we could take this to levels we honestly, I'll be honest with you, I dreamed I could make these levels. I did. But to convince other people to do it and whatnot, we ended up setting a goal. And about 6 months ago, we said, all right, if we get Mr. Matthew Dillner on this show, we will have taken another level up.
You guys like beer?
Yes.
Absolutely.
You guys, right?
Oh,
Show
I'm-
hands. You like beer? Yeah.
Oh, love.
You guys like racing?
Love, yeah.
And you like to have good times. I mean, that's three hands. We don't have three.
Wait, no, we
hands.
forgot food.
Oh, food. Yeah. What? How did?
Well, and we got hockey.
And hockey.
And we got hockey.
Well,
and,
except for yeah.
Besides
and
me.
we all have beautiful
ass.
friends like JB Cole and Chris Williams. And,
Yeah.
You know, JB, he's such a character, and having
I
him
stayed
on
at
was-
his house last night.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well, next time y'all come up here for a smart
I'm
rod
traumatized.
race, stay up here at the cabin on the other side of the ridge right
Oh,
there at
nice.
Simon Winch's. Stay at the cabin, bring your family a lot of history. We'll
Yeah.
fire off a cannon, some fireworks with Isaiah Rickman, and
Maybe we'll do that in the summer race.
I think that's what we're gonna have
Yes.
to do.
Y'all coming back?
So-
We are definitely
Good.
We got to be here.
Oh yeah.
I'll be back.
So I look at JB and I've started with JB on iRacing stuff a lot, so I've got to know the guy. Me and him are both the guy that catches a lot of hell from no matter what we do. We always catching a hard time. I think, man.
Good. That means people like you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you.
It's me and JB are always the brunt of the joke. We call him Freshies because anytime he's got a fresh set of tires, he's plowing through somebody.
Hey, y'all should start calling him Gizmo. So I went out. I took him to Daytona. He'd never been in Daytona, and it was like having the gremlin, where you had to feed him every few hours. You had to make sure he went to the bathroom every 30 minutes. It was all these rules. And it was hilarious. Like, he had to get a certain amount of sleep. So I started calling him Gizmo.
So like at 11, so like at 11 o'clock, he was out. No matter what.
It's just, it was like having a little gremlin. Feed him, don't get him wet,
All right.
That's awesome.
So, Matthew, is this your first trip to Franklin County Speedway?
No. I actually spotted a race here for my niece in a Pro Challenge car probably about 12 years ago. So
this is your second trip, so essentially.
Yeah, well, third maybe,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, it's the first time. I'm excited to see modifieds here because this is
That's
a modified racetrack.
Yes,
man. The history
absolutely
here.
it is.
So for me as a modified guy, this is to see modifieds here. Already watching them in practice, watching them qualified. This is a modified track.
Yeah, it really is. And in the history we've talked about so many times on the show, we go back to Paul Radford, Joe Henry Thurman, Satch Worley, Gerald Compton. Kenny Minner.
Yeah. The namesake of this race today.
Yeah, we found the
I'm pretty sure he broke the track record.
What did we say, Julian?
20, 30, 25 years ago.
Yeah, we've almost failed to mention Kenny Minner, the name of the name of the race.
Yeah.
It was amazing around here, and you cannot go anywhere around this area without hearing that name associated in something in auto racing.
And that's the first time we'll see a Boston Red Sox come and make a save. My boy's got a Boston Red Sox shirt out. I was about to throw him over the fence.
And that's why you're over there and I'm over
Exactly. We
here.
have to have this separation.
Yeah, because I'm
about to drop the gloves with Ranger over there.
Look, I love your work. I love the podcast, but the Yankee stuff. I almost could not come on the air because of this. It's horrible.
Hey man, you gotta have sports rivalries, dude.
Absolutely.
We gotta hate each other to love each other.
That's right. That's right. We agree with that.
We've got a Yankee and a Southerner arguing over Yankee baseball right now. That's kind of.
And I'm actually a Yankee by birth. So I've almost hit the pendulum swing where I've been down here longer than I've been up there.
You know what? I think we can give that to you. Honestly, I think that's. If you've been down here long enough and you're immersed in it, and
I was born in the north, but I was born to live here.
Here come the Hornets.
The flight of the bumblebees, baby.
The Weed Eater
Is this your series right here?
The Weed Eater 100 is underway.
These guys are running 2-3 wide.
And why are you not out here today?
66 cars in the lead.
We should be rooting for you today.
I'll tell you what, you can see modifieds out there and all, but these boys right here are driving the piss out of these things.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
And they will use every corner of this racetrack. They'll go up to the top. They'll go on the apron. They do not care.
No, they don't.
These things are harder.
Look, right here.
These things are harder to drive than those grippy race cars.
This is a fun class to race. Yeah, super fun class. And Chrisley, that car is fast. I like that car.
They got
We have trouble.
We got
Put it out. No,
No,
yeah. Is it coming down? Put it out. Put it out.
They got a great. Come on, JB.
There we go. So I will say this.
That car doesn't even have a roll cage in it.
That car
They just sit there. And I don't think the radio's wrong because they just collided.
A lot of us
turn
don't have
forward.
radios.
Where are the spotters?
I mean, what kind
Steve,
of
they're on the-
history right
They're
here
on the
with
picnic table over there.
This is the
The
affordable
four-cylinder,
man's
yeah.
class.
probably
Those
eating
ass
barbecue and
spotters.
drinking beer.
Yeah. The spotter stand is 2 picnic tables on the front stretch.
Absolutely is.
Their back is turned. They're drinking. What's happening is they're consuming that Franklin County water.
Oh, yeah. So you guys talked about that before. And Steve Post, I was just talking to Posty over there. And he's like, I'm like, where are you going? He's like, oh, I'm going to go over and visit the Appalachian boys, And I'm like, yeah, I'm going over there too because they said they had some water for me. And he's like, oh, yeah. He goes, they got some water for me too. I was like, all right, I'm like, this is gonna be good.
The way it comes out of the mountain up here, and as pure
Yeah, it
as
just
it
comes
is,
out pure.
Yeah,
Very pure.
I mean, it's very refreshing.
Right out
very
of
Spring water.
yeah,
spring water,
very
right out of
springish.
it. You know,
full of sulfur.
As long as it don't smell like sulfur.
Oh, it does. It does.
only in certain spots. The only way it smells like sulfur is if you get your water source close enough to a river. The creeks are fine, but if you get down to the river, then it starts. And I know this because we have the hunting cabin.
There's the Easter Bunny.
We got to get.
There,
a,
yeah,
we
get
got to
them.
get a new filter.
Oh my gosh.
every
Dean,
2
sit down.
months.
I mean, we're sitting here at a racetrack and the Easter Bunny just walked by.
Ain't that something?
You don't see that everywhere in America.
No.
Especially not at a racetrack.
No.
That's not the thing you would expect to see walking. I mean, maybe Santa Claus for the for like the icebreaker. Is that what it is down in? What's the one they do down in Florida in December?
Pensacola, you got
Snowball Derby.
Snowball Derby, yes,
but
yes.
you got Snowball walking around.
I would
but-
expect to see Santa Claus at the Snowball Derby, but seeing the Easter Bunny at Franklin County at any point in time, even being Easter weekend, is a bit of a stretch.
Remember that guy that always used to go to Martinsville dressed like Senior in the fire suit and everything?
Oh, that guy
he looked
creeped me out,
identical.
man.
Yeah,
Identical.
That guy creeped me out. It was weird.
He rocks the old gargoyles
Yes.
too. Like, where do you find those old gargoyles at?
That creeped me out.
I may, have,
weird.
I may have you one better. I was
got, though?
I was at the race last night, and there was two what I thought was NASCAR officials, but they weren't NASCAR officials. They were dressed head to toe like a NASCAR official, and they were partaking in some adult beverages in the campground. I'd never seen that before. I was
I've
like,
seen
hey,
people at a
this is pretty
hockey game
creative.
dressed up as a referee or something, but I've never seen somebody try to mimic a NASCAR official.
That's a first.
I wonder
Yeah.
if they got in for free.
I mean, it's
I didn't even
possible.
think about that.
That'd been the route I would have been taking.
That would have just
Worth a
walked through
shot.
the tunnel.
All right, Matthew, while we got you on here,
Yeah, come on, what you got?
you came up and you went to Martinsville this weekend.
Yeah, I took my little boy.
Your right-hand man
Yep.
went out there and raced on Friday night, an Xfinity
Yeah.
race. What'd you think about all that?
I loved it. I just love, there's part of me that doesn't want him to race. I'll be honest with you. Part of me as a friend, but to see how excited he was afterwards and see how much fun he had, it's like, man, that's great. They could just go out there once a year, have some fun, no pressure. If he finishes 20th, who cares?
And the short track that you don't have to worry about running 160 and
Yeah,
smacking
and he
a wall.
loves, even though he doesn't, it's so funny because people will tell me, like, why does he want to run there? It's not like he has this immense record there. He just loves racing there.
It's so traditional.
You would figure it would be like, okay, it's some place where he's got 8 wins or something, you know what I mean? But no, he loves racing there because it's just a badass short track.
And you could certainly notice, I mean, the attendance on Friday
it was
night,
great.
it was unbelievable.
The attendance was awesome.
For an Xfinity race, let's be honest.
And then they
with
got
you.
treated to a darn good race.
And he
Yes,
got a
they
Martinsville
did.
hot dog.
Martinsville hot dogs, but they had a darn good race. We went as a fan. Hudson and I, my little 6-year-old, we went last night, but the night before I went with JB and a few guys in the modified circle and my nephew, and we just sat as fans and went in the stands. And my God, I mean, just watching all the battles throughout the pack too. It wasn't, you watch TV, and I'm a TV guy, obviously, but you can't get a sense of what a race is like until you're actually there because TV sometimes isn't showing the crazy battle going on for 20th. And you're sitting there up in the stands, and you could be fixated on that stuff.
The race within the race.
Yeah, I love. Hey, I can almost pick up the crunch. Let's
Yeah.
hear that again.
I'm sorry.
No, that was awesome, man.
can't.
That was like, it sounded like I was in a Doritos commercial.
This is the most embarrassing 10
What?
seconds, and I don't get embarrassed.
Dude,
easily.
no, that's not embarrassing. That
I
was
was
like,
hoping
we should
nobody
say,
picked up
what
on
type
it.
of chips is that? Turn it
These
around.
are Utz
Turn around.
barbecue rough.
Let me see that real quick.
Take them, please.
All right, watch this, watch
Share
this.
them. We brought them.
Ready?
For
Give me a bite. Give me a bite. Ready? A bite into the mic.
Come on, Hudson, let's
This-
hear it.
This segment on Appalachian Podcast is brought to you by Utz Ripples Barbecue Flavor. See, marketing opportunity, man.
Dean, I hope you got taking notes right now. I hope you over there taking notes because I can only think of so much.
I'm emailing Utz as we speak.
I'm a big fan
Hey,
of Utz.
and we've got a name. Appalachips.
Well, we need
There you go. Would you look? I mean, Julian, come on. What about that?
So we need to
Come
put
get some.
We
Let's
need,
go.
we need to be like Friday night and have an Appalachian podcast helmet and start a fight somewhere, and we see it all over the newspapers. That's what we need.
Let's get back to the food.
Monster had a great, yeah.
There's some good food at this track tonight. Ben Rakes is over there on the front stretch, and he's got some good barbecue going.
Yeah, I just had some of it, man. My man Mike Parrish just here had the ribs.
Thanks, Ed.
No, that's not Tanner Young. Who was
Whoa,
that?
ribs.
Ribs. I didn't have any. I think I'm going to go over there and kill a rib or two or
I will
six.
Probably
tag
gonna
team
have to
that
as
with
well.
you.
Yeah. Like
We will
what
go
do you think?
investigate that.
Are you a 6-rib guy?
6 ribs, 10 ribs, 12, whatever.
You don't care.
I don't care.
You don't discriminate.
I don't
If it's a
discriminate
rib, you'll
at
eat it.
all.
When it comes to barbecue, this man is a king, right here.
Jeff beat me to it.
That's right.
That's a story we have to tell
Just
off air.
put mayonnaise on it. He'll be okay.
Oh,
Okay. First of all, if you want me to not partake, we will go the other way of mayonnaise. That is the most disgusting thing on this planet.
Man, the Boston Red Sox and the Yankees are starting to get along here.
Oh,
we
no!
I hate mayonnaise.
I mean,
Come on.
I like it. I like some Hellmann's like in dips. I'll do some Hellmann's and stuff like in dips or whatever.
Yeah.
But I ain't doing like straight up mayonnaise.
I'm not
It's
even
gross.
doing dips. I'm not even doing drops.
Dang.
I don't even want to smell it.
Like a little mayonnaise with sriracha.
No.
That stuff is legit.
Yeah, that is
Sriracha, no.
Okay. Everything.
Okay, we can get along. We're good.
Y'all met in the middle there.
Yeah, we
that's right.
found some equal ground. What's up, Hud? The Hud man.
Yep.
My boy's 6 years old,
Is
and
he enjoying himself?
yeah, well, I had him down in the infield by all the cars, and he just wanted to come up in the grandstands. He likes it up here, man.
That's kind of my
fan experience.
Live for the lead.
Well, it's like in Martinsville this weekend. You got to do the fan experience, man.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. You know, I don't get to 19 years, and I haven't been on that side of the fence at a cup race. You know, I come to short track races all the time. Look at this. I'm saying look at this on a podcast, but we're having one heck of a battle here. What type of race? What division is this? What do they call it? Mini
Stock 4.
Stock 4.
The last one was mini stock. These are stock 4s.
These are 4 cylinders, front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive.
At a lot of places, they call these the Hornet division.
Hornets, U-Cars, maybe.
Yeah, U-Cars 1.
They call them Hornets at Bowman Gray, I believe.
And at South Boston. We were talking about South
Yeah.
Boston with the postman.
These are almost U-cars, just no suspension or tires.
They got baloney skin tires. We got those baloney skin tires that when they go into the curb, they sound like a dog. It's like.
So,
We eat tires up in this class.
oh, we got a battle for the lead. That got a little too loose.
Tell you what, Christmas car is fast. He's got a fast car.
So we got Ryan Blaney out here in the 12. I just noticed that. He's out there, baby.
This is some of the this one makes Callaway.
Yep. We got Ryan Blaney out here in the 12 Advanced Auto Honda Civic.
So nice of Ryan to come on by. This kettle corn, man, I got my eyes on that thing.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
It was kind of like some Barry White music just started playing, and it was like super slow.
Shit, there it goes.
We got some if you want it. Let's.
I'll save it for the water.
Man, this battle for second.
Battle for seconds heating up. Good times, man.
That's Trey Cooper on the inside.
You guys have the best spot.
Oh, contact! He saved it.
Or has he?
Trey Cooper got second.
Wow. How many podcasts do you get this?
Yeah.
I mean, we are in front of the action.
MRN style.
Right.
What do they call it? Radio style
Radio
announcing?
style, yeah.
So who's taking turn 1? Who's taking turn 2? Turn 4.
It depends. I can't see turn 1 and 2. I'll take it front stretch.
I'll take back stretch.
There you go.
All right, call them off here. Call them off. I don't know who the drivers' names are, but
Not
we'll
a
make 'em
clue.
up. We'll make them up.
I have no.
All right, 66 here, your leader, but stalking behind sideways in second place.
Sideways 13, man. Slide.
13's got to be Jay Nadu.
Let's call
Jay
him.
Nadu. Oh, we got one in the wall.
We'll call him Slideways 13. How about that?
Slideways
That's a good name.
13.
Here comes Trey Cooper about to
Here's the battle for the lead. He's on his bumper. Going into turn number 1, sideways.
I don't know how that 13 hasn't wrecked about 6
These
times.
guys are giving
Oh,
the
he's trying to wreck.
They're going to wreck.
We have to only host son.
The top 4 cars under a blanket heading into 1.
Coming off 2, nose to tail. We really need Steve Post here for this. I mean, I don't know where he's at. Send him a text.
Well, you guys gave him that water. He'd probably really call a good race now.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Hi, Hudson.
You enjoying yourself, wild man?
Are you enjoying yourself?
If we're calling a race, we did pick, full disclosure, the worst spot to turn it in.
Well, because we have to make up what we see in turn 1 and 2, because you can't see 1 and 2. We can make it up.
We need programs with car numbers.
And that's what
Like, put a
radio's all
mirror.
about, is to tell a story. We're telling a story right now.
Just hang a mirror up on that pole.
catching up to lap traffic.
Lappers are definitely going to play an issue
Yes,
here.
that 66 is got some lap traffic. Yeah. This is quality entertainment here.
Here we go. This is a lead battle right here, Hudson, 66. And then that black and green car right behind.
This corner entry is tremendous for the second place car.
I'll tell you what, I'd like to run here. This looks like it's a fun track. A lot of banking. Looks like a driver's track. You're really going to plant it in there. A lot of grip.
You do.
What car would you want to be in if you could turn it?
Not one of these.
No.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, people will always say, like, oh yeah, getting those things are just novelty cars. These cars, I've driven street stocks, right? Street stocks are harder to drive than maybe a late model, you know, because you don't have grip.
Oh, we get the white flag here.
2 to go, 2 to go.
Yep, 2 to go.
Well, look how hard these guys are driving these cars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These things are not easy to drive. Man,
White flag
is
for
out.
the
Battle for the lead. Looks like the 66 has got it. He gaps him on the front stretch.
Yep.
Like Kristen's going to take it.
Second place car really overused
And
the
the
stuff.
And the Chevy Cavalier is gonna.
Is that what it is, a Cavalier?
Yeah, it's a Chevy Cavalier or either.
Checkered flag out. We have a winner, number 66, taking it home.
I wonder if it has like a Hawaiian seat cover. You know, you used to see the girls in high school. They'd have a red Cavalier with a Hawaiian seat cover and maybe a lay on the mirror.
Oh yeah, okay, I'm with you now.
That was a thing, man.
I forgot about the lays on the mirror.
Yeah, that was a total thing. Girls always have those red Cavaliers back in high school.
You're
Seemed to be a
right.
thing.
All right, so since I mean that was cool. That was like kind of podcast history right there. And we called what
Kind of.
series is that, Ryan?
Stock 4.
Stock 4.
We just called a Stock 4 race live with Dillner, Julian Austin, Bodine, and the legend Ryan Wood.
Bodine.
And I've got to ask, Matthew, I'm sure you've listened to a couple of our shows here
Yes.
and there. Did you listen to the Woodshop Chronicles episode, The Legend of Ryan
No.
Woods?
No.
Dude, this is the legend.
I heard there's a
this
story.
is the legend. And if you don't get a chance to listen to the whole show,
No, I
think
will.
It was the part 2, but you can also go on YouTube and find the version
Okay.
that doesn't have the rest of it.
I was drunk as hell. I even cut my finger on the podcast.
Hey, look, go up to the fence and check your flag.
We did.
Somebody, go run. Give him a thumbs up.
Um,
Give him a thumbs up.
the best way I could make a long story short to try and explain to you the implications of his ride. Essentially, it went from a Nissan Altima that was in a police chase, a shootout, to his dad's garage, to him stealing it from his sister, putting $25 in gas,
Yeah,
driving it to the racetrack before he frequented the brewery around here before he came here, put it in a $2,000 IndyCar race and won. Won the race and did not damage the car
That's
at
a day.
all.
I drove it home the next day.
Hey, speaking of
Still
which,
got it. Now it's got mold in it.
so when you listen to that show and that story, and it is amazing. Like you will, your stomach will hurt listening to it as you laugh.
Actually, I
Isaiah,
have
stick around here for a
I
second.
have a 2016 Nissan.
But that
Altima
is
for
him.
sale.
This is Ryan Woods. This is a legend. He took an IndyCar ride to this track, won it, and now you're in the stock 4.
It
right?
still had blood and gunshot holes in it.
Should have a good year as soon as I get my car right.
So I looked at the standings last week, and you were
wouldn't
in
have
there, but you didn't have any laps.
I didn't rent a transponder.
You didn't.
Nope.
So that screwed you over bad.
Not really, because this was the start of the season for points. But I still missed the start of the season for points.
No kidding.
Yeah. It's okay though.
Well, anyway, if you're listening to this, go back and listen to that episode. It was one of the best. One of the best Callaway Franklin County Speedway stories you will ever get, and that's running up against Rick Mast. That's running up against the Smart Mod race here last year, Cars Tour. The Ryan Woods story is legendary.
Yeah, it's hard to top that.
It just like that kind of stuff.
I'm gonna listen to it.
Happen. People usually bring their car up here and it gets totaled.
Yeah.
And I ended up making it the whole 50 laps, and I got second, but first place got disqualified because he had racing tires and the battery was located in the back, which was not the stock location.
Isn't that something? You get disqualified for having racing tires.
Yeah.
What a story.
Supposed to have a stock car.
Street tires.
Hey,
I
man.
mean, that's awesome.
I mean, this guy had. Well, we should have disqualified you for lightening that thing up with all the bullet holes.
Yeah. Yeah, you took metal out of it, eh?
Did it come stock with those bullet holes?
Good point.
All right, I'm gonna hop off here.
Yeah.
We're
We're getting ready to see the mod race anyways. Getting ready to the main show.
We're gonna go down to the backstretch there. You guys can be around where I can pick up that water.
You want to pick it up right now?
We'll be in this area, either here or up top.
All right.
Yeah, we'll be here. If my wife goes
10-4.
into labor, then I might have to take out of here.
Yeah.
So
I'll get it the next time.
You better take
But-
out here real fast.
come on, yeah. At this point in time, if she hadn't given it up, we're good. So find us
Hell of a
before you
way to put
leave,
it.
and Mr. Dillner, we certainly appreciate your time.
Thank you.
jumping on here.
Hey,
Let's do
you
it
guys
again
have a
here
good time.
soon on the other side of that ridge.
I want to fire off the cannon.
Yeah, we're going
This,
to fire it again.
Mr. Dillner, this is Isaiah right here. He's actually our fireworks coordinator and our personal private pilot. So.
That's quite a combination.
So if you come up here in July for this race, we can set up some fireworks on the mountain, fire off the cannon, do a great podcast. Bring your family. We'll do brick oven pizzas at Simon Lynch's, and we'll make a time of it. So
Hey, I like it, man. Sounds good.
Thank you so very
had me
much.
at Cannon.
we got you. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of
See
your time
y'all.
up here. Yeah.
Thanks, Matt.
Where
Thanks,
in the world
buddy.
did Ryan go? All right, so now we've got Isaiah jumped in here, and we wanted to bring you on here because you are another integral part of Franklin
thought that was
County
Hermes.
culture.
I don't know about that.
Well, you've been a sponsor of Paul Hall,
Yeah, absolutely.
and he's out here racing today.
Absolutely. We're here for Paul.
He is running ragged today. He's actually who was it talking? Hey, Matthew, thank you so much.
Hey, brother.
Take it easy. He was running in practice in the top 7.
Good.
Did you put your name on the side of his car this week?
No, I didn't.
I didn't either. I tried to. I hit him up. I said, man, let me know what I need to do to get on the side of it. And he never hit me back up because he had gotten so good. I mean, he had reached his point. So I said, well, come July when they race up here again if he needs to be at that point in time.
Right. He don't need us anymore, right? He's big time.
He was down there signing autographs.
Yeah.
I've got some here somewhere.
His line was actually comparable to Bobby Labonte's.
Yeah. Paul Hall was signing autographs at the same rate that Bobby Labonte was.
Local hero,
This
man.
is going to be interesting.
Absolutely.
So my biggest question for you is, how did you talk your wife into coming up here to Franklin County Speedway
Oh,
tonight?
it was easy. I said, it's going to be a good time. We can have a few drinks and see everything that's going on here. And it's a beautiful day.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
You know
fantastic.
Chloe? This is my daughter, Sabella.
How you doing?
This is the first race she's ever been to.
Well, you picked a heck of a time to come up here. I can
Yeah.
tell you that much. Yeah, we've had some, and actually we have the winner. Which hat would you like, Miss McPherson? Okay, and then a shirt, whatever one you got. She won it. She This is the winner of our giveaway we had on Facebook. We gave away 2 tickets.
It was rigged.
Yeah, well, everybody related to Paul Hall somehow managed to win, I reckon.
Well, I mean, the last name Hall that's a huge name in the county.
It is. It really is. It's a massive. So we got the Crate 6 going.
Either Hodges or Hall.
Your business, Isaiah. What's the name of your business?
Rickman Incorporated.
Rickman Incorporated. But your plumbing business, is it Rickman?
Yeah.
Rickman too.
So it's Rickman Incorporated. I last year purchased Mid-Mountain Lake Plumbing as well. So
It's a big purchase.
Yeah, I own that as well. So it's a small company. We do plumbing. If you got leaky stuff, whatever needs to be fixed, we'll fix it.
Well, I mean, you know how we are around here. We like talking about the plumbing business, and when you look at the people to the left of me, you can know they need good plumbers because they're probably dive bombing their pipes every single day. with,
Whoa, where is
Taco
this
Bell.
coming from?
Huh?
Whoa!
Whoa! Whoa! We went to turds.
Well, so
We switched from race cars to turds.
well, I guess we got the crate mods coming up, and
No, this is the smart.
Smart? Okay, so we got the smart mods rolling.
Yeah, we need to cut it out.
We'll
We
go ahead
can,
and cut this show out. I wish we'd had you, Isaiah, here longer. We're trying to get you on a little bit earlier. Get you on next time. Let's we can do a show. You, me, Amos,
I'm trying to think of the last time I've seen Jeff Taylor.
I guarantee it was beer involved.
Well, you jumped on here with the name of some legends today. So in the banner, we're going to have Steve Post, Matthew Dillner, and Isaiah Rickman as guests and Brian Wood. So appreciate you coming. As far as everything else, we're going to go ahead and cut this short because the
Julian,
small
we're
race is about to start.
Feature.
Dean Motley, thank you so much. Making us all this
Yeah,
happen,
man.
coming up here today, jumping on. Julian, great conversation.
Thank you.
Need to do it again with some of
Yes.
these guys next time. You got a great voice for podcasting, and you got a lot of knowledge. You did great with Steve Post today. We can make that happen again. We're gonna have to, because you're. I mean,
We got to make that happen.
We'll
It was
kick
great.
Bodine out of the way if we have to. So
I told you Julian would be
listening,
awesome.
Paul Hall, Chris Williams, Smart Modified Tour, JB, Brian Woods, the legend, Matthew Dillner, Steve Post, Langley, everybody made this day possible. The Hopewell Grace Band for the music, Isaiah for jumping on here, our personal pilot and our bassist. Thank y'all so much, and we'll see you next time.
See y'all. Thank you for listening.
Take it easy.
Up on a mountain with a cold wind blows. We can talk about your drink and what you think. Here, anything goes on a mountain. Oh. We were sitting by the campfire when she came around, singing kumbaya to a brand new crowd. She been drinking all day, so she stumbles in. Now she's surrounded by new light and a brand new set of friends up on the mountain, baby. Leave your pride at the door. Drop your
Drink that moonshine straight from a jar. Put it in a shot glass and drink it fast. Stare up at your stars, play the guitar, sing a song or two. How about this old Hank song? We'll sing along, the world will sing with you. Up on the mountain, baby,